Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Season 2, Episode 10. Happiness is the drug episode. Now, I don't necessarily mean that as an insult. Several works over the years have dealt with drug episodes. It was actually a mandate. Oh, excuse me. This is obviously way after that. But it was actually a mandate back in the early aughts for a lot of shows across a lot of studios to do at least one mandated drug episode. And obviously, they did, and most of them kind of sucked. Some of them were okay, which is good, because the actual drug episode I was thinking of, because it's recent in my mind, was all the way back in TNG Season 1, which was pretty crap. In fact, if we look at the Rumination sheet here, we can see it's over there in, let's see here. I can't remember the name of it. Home soil? No. It's Symbiosis. There it is. Symbiosis. Season 1, Episode 22. You'll notice I gave that black status, aka Lamentation, because screw that episode. This is a lot better than that, is what I'm trying to get at. This does a lot better thing with that. So, we have an evil temple and a sacrificial altar and a big old thing, but the idol prevents him from destroying it. So now we have our artifact of total and unmitigated doom. Cool. So the Lorbs are partying. Yeah, they're probably on good terms, so that makes a lot of sense. We see they're actually doing something with the lanterns, which actually makes me happy. Oh yeah, and they're also still on the island. In fact, at this point, I think they're not actually going to get off the island until the next episode, because the next one's the High Seas one, but I'm getting off topic. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, does anybody know German here? I actually wrote down how to spell the name of the idol, because the subtitles gave it away, and I'm really curious if it actually means anything. I couldn't possibly pronounce it. Wirtschaftsbeiseigung. God, I don't know. I know how German works. I don't know any of the vocabulary whatsoever. Anyways. So no, the Lorbs are in good hands with them. Rapunzel going through the different lanterns. That's kind of awesome. It's a neat little tidbit. And while it is a rather large coincidence that she finds one of the ones that was actually sent by her father, which still has a letter in it, and it's not one of the pieces that's been broken down for parts like some of the other ones have, I'm still okay with it, because it's doing something with the lanterns idea. It's tying it back in and bringing it all into a character moment, which makes perfect sense. See, she's been cloistered her whole life. And one of the things that tends to happen when you are restricted from A for a long period of time is you tend to think about A. Like you really want A. In her case, freedom. She wants to be out and free and open and living her life. And she wants it and she wants it and she wants it. And then she gets it, except not quite really, because most of Season 1 was her still being cloistered. So Season 2 is her finally getting it. And of course she's homesick. I'd make an Earthbound joke here, but let's not. But no, for real, of course she's homesick. We, as a species, tend to prefer the familiar. We're very patterned. And so, even if it's something that's arguably not good, or something that's worse, or bad, or awful, or whatever, we tend to lean towards the familiar. Maybe it's because it's home. Maybe it's because it's people we know more. Maybe it's because it's food we know more, right? I mean, this is kind of the basis of the concept of nostalgia. And it's one of the reasons why there's such a discourse about the concept of nostalgia. And yeah, why she cried when the tower broke down. That was a horrible prison for her. A hellscape, but it was also what she knew. So it makes sense. And so it also makes sense, hi Kenix Cow, it makes perfect sense that she would be pining, right? That she is sitting here thinking, I miss home. That's logical. And I like how this episode pulls that out. I kind of wish Frederick was a better human being, or a worse one. Actually, I would be okay with either, as I said several times before, because that can make this hit even harder in either direction. If he's a terrible father, but she still misses him, that makes sense. After all, she's lived under a terrible parent for a long part of her life. Toxic relationships were walking. But if he was a better person, then it would make even more sense, because again, she now misses the good parent that she finally has access to. So all of this lines up pretty well, actually. Looking down my notes. Sorry, I kind of skipped ahead a little bit here. So she finds the stupid idol, right? Cool. All right. I hate to point this out. There's no specific slot that Varian could fit into this episode neatly. However, this would be a perfect episode to see what Varian's happiness desire is. His fake happiness thing. Probably, and this is the obvious thing, his father being like, wow, son, you're super amazing, and all your inventions always work. Just something really basic like that. But actually, you know, it'd be more interesting to me is if that isn't what he saw. You can make that a character point. That the fact that he saw something else makes him go and thinks about it. And yeah, we actually do have Varian in this episode for one line of dialogue as a hallucination. Just food for thought, just something I was thinking about. Because we see this artifact. You'd think Rapunzel has enough experience at this point to process that this is probably a bad idea, and she probably shouldn't be playing with the artifact that's glowing and showing her something that is so clearly an illusion. Okay. But let's go down the list. What kind of things have we seen here? Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Lord Harriman. Like, have everyone forgive him and be willing to bring him back in so that he can go back to the life he wants, you know? That's the kind of thing I would probably use for Varian. And then that we could play with that later, too, because the group has been slowly accepting him throughout the course of Season 2. You get it. So Rapunzel has a loving and caring and kind father and family. Ouch. Then we have Eugene, who sees wealth, freedom, and ego in one package. Yep, also things he'll never have. Cassandra is recognized and respected by her father, which will also never happen. So that's 3 ouches in a row, by the way, when it comes to the illusions. Then we get kind of weird, because the secondary characters, I hate to call them that, all make perfect sense. So Max is locking all the criminals in the kingdom, which is just... Like that's just Max. There's no illusion there. That's just Max. Then we see Lance, who has wealth and luxury. Okay, that tracks. And then we have Hookfoot, who has Serafina and a nice big lock of hair. Those last 3 are all a lot more reasonable, as absolutely weird as that sounds, and also more likely to actually happen. So it's only the 3 principals that have something that's completely unrealistic and is probably never going to happen. It's just interesting the way they're divided there. And I hate to talk about patterns again, but if we included Varian here, that would give 3 unreasonable, 3 reasonable, and we could have Varian in the middle, and Varian could be foreshadowing. Again, being forgiven. But I'm getting off topic. Then Rapunzel goes and she's jonesing, and this is when the drug allegory starts to really come into its own. However, there's this little bit where Cassandra and Max are arguing about which one of them should be in the tutu. And, you know, maybe we should let Max cook. Why don't we see Cassandra in the tutu? I think, for science, I think that would be better than seeing Max in a tutu. Just for no particular... Anyways, there's this really good little gag. There's a lot of little gags in this one. Again, Season 2 has been very gag-heavy and pun storm-heavy. But there's this wonderful bit where Eugene is smoldering at one of the crabs, and the crab just goes, and immediately faints. It's really cute. It's really cute, and it got a laugh out of me. So Eugene tries to do his thing. Lance has to borrow things. They're all trying to steal the statue. I'm the one who needs it the most. Fight, drug allegory, yada, yada, yada. There's only one thing I don't like about this episode. It's a really, really minor thing, in all honesty, because it can't seem to pick a lane. In some cases, it's the Mirror of Erised problem, right? There is a magical artifact which is basically creating the dependency, right? In some cases, they're very clearly acting out of character. There's a wonderful little animation bit where Cassandra is pissed and fighting and trying to get the thing, and she grabs Pascal and she's glaring down at him, and he recoils, and that causes her to snap out of it for a second. So in some level, there is clearly some mind control going on. But on the other hand, sometimes they just are themselves. It's just, damn it, I want to experience that thing again. I want to experience the illusion. And they all know it's illusions because they can literally see each other's illusions. They see what's actually going on. So that tracks. And I feel like there was an argument in the office about this. Because it feels like they wanted it to be just, this is something they want. And some people were like, that's unbelievable, and we can't do that. So they made it a magical influence thing. And so you kind of see both story ideas depending on the specific scene in question, especially when it becomes red-eyed. Consequently, that's what I would have done. I would have made it so that while it's green-eyed, it's just showing them illusions. And it's a holodeck, right? It's just entertainment. It's something to do while they're stuck on this stupid island waiting for the fairy to show up. And then when it goes red eyes, it starts actually influencing them and starts actually kind of coercing them. And that's when their attitudes really start to go out of whack. That's what I would have gone with personally. But that's just me. Anyways. Like I said, very, very minor complaint. Yeah, red eyes is when we've lost the safeties on the holodeck. So Rapunzel steals the damn thing. She even has this line to Pascal. What's so wrong with something that makes me happy? A very dangerous line, to be assured. Pascal goes to the Lords for help. Nice touch. They know what it is. And we find out it's the idol of Verstas. Seriously, does anybody here know German? Here, I'll type it out in chat on the off chance that someone in the VODs or in, like, YouTube knows what this is. It's Wirtschaftsbeseitigung. There we go. It's that. Right over here. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube or on the Twitch VODs, what the hell does that mean? All right, because there's got to be a joke there, right? Like, someone somewhere has got to be doing something on purpose with that word. So they have... I can't even pronounce it correctly. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. So we see Varian for a millisecond, and this is when they're like, fake happiness, and it's an illusion. Get an answer about half a year. There's kind of an action-y sequence. I do like this. It's actually a better action sequence than usual. I know that sounds weird because they usually have good action in the show. But, like, there's about 3 seconds of Pascal being a badass and actually beating Eugene and Cassandra before he is then captured in the aforementioned her freaking out and snapping out of it moment. It's a good scene. It's very short, but it's very well animated. There's a lot of density to what's going on here. And finally... we must defeat it, and we must quit the drugs. Smash the thing. Everything clears. Cool. And we're good. I do like how in the moment they decide to have her back, and I do like how they all push back against it even though it's in red eyes mode. And then she sends a letter home with the lantern. I'm not even going to nitpick that because it's a nice moment. It's sweet. Even though, anyways, not going to nitpick it. I'm not going to do it. The effort. All right. Oh, right. I'm on the wrong tab. That'll explain that. So yeah, now we got to rate it. It is more symbolic. I get it. Uh-oh. Hang on. What's 040 got here? Business statements? According to Google, and that's a big asterisk on the quality of that for when it comes to Google Translate, Verslagsflageflageflu translates as business statements. The ultimate source of illusory happiness. I could buy that. I could buy that. Yeah, I feel kind of weird calling this red, too. This feels like a very good episode to me. And we have a definition for that, and that's orange. I do think it's a higher orange than the ones we've seen so far. But then again, I also rather liked the previous episode. Yeah, we've got, because we've, just looking at our oranges so far, we have Beyond the Corona Walls, which was pretty solid. Vigor the Visionary, which was way better than it had any right to be. There's something about Hookfoot, which was rather damn good, and then this one. I'm sorry, I actually hate to disagree. I think this is an orange. I don't think this actually hits the point of excellence. I think this hits the point of very good. This is a very good, enjoyable episode. All we had to do is get stranded on a tropical island in France. You know, I would laugh. I really would. If, like, they show a map of Princess versus France, right? And it's like, there's this giant-ass lake just in the middle. When I say lake, I mean a sea. There's a sea in the middle of France. And over here on the eastern coast, that's where, Corona is. And that's just... Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Hang on. Wouldn't Beauty and the Beast also be in France? The Koroks, the Lorbs, I like them a lot better in this episode than I did back in King Pascal. I mean, it's not like they were bad in King Pascal. They were mostly just there. But here, yeah, okay, I'm with that. I'm enjoying it. That's right, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Although that's a little bit, like, I don't know if there's a princess in that. So I don't know if that'd be part of the princess verse. I mean, yeah, I know there's Esmeralda, but does she qualify as a princess? I don't know. That's debatable. God, you're making me think about this princess verse thing now, because I think there's a lot that can be done with it. So here's something interesting. Looking at season 1 versus season 2. We're up to episode 10. I'm going to take my lunch break now and then come back in a minute. But looking at season 2 so far, it is definitely a huge step up with regards to the previous episodes, because we already have as many oranges as we managed in the entirety of season 1. By itself, that's already impressive. But also, even though we do have a black and a blue and several greens, we've generally just been at higher quality. As much as I sound complainy in several of these episodes, and I stand by several of the complaints I have made, they've been doing some good stuff with season 2. And of course now, we're going to keep doing the slice of life thing. Do you think it's going to be next episode? Do you think they're finally going to get off the island? I don't know, because we've had 3 episodes on the island, and that's been the pattern so far. 3, 3, break, 3. You're right, there's no dads in this season. So he can't author self-insert. But if you put a gun to my head, I would say the next episode is probably going to be them leaving the island, right? That's your breather bridge thing, just like Keeper of the Spire was. So Max and Eugene in peril on the high seas, boy, that's a long title, is probably them leaving. And then Curses, Eye of Pencosta, and Rapunzel in the Great Tree. That'll probably be our next location, if I were to guess on the matter. But either way, we'll find out after the lunch break.